All right, let's talk about the new Kanye album that we had no idea was dropping this morning on Sunday, like 7 a.m. People were telling me Eastern. I don't know the exact time. I just woke up, got my nut in, and then checked Twitter. Donda's out apparently. And obviously, since it wasn't a Friday morning or Thursday night at midnight when big albums such as Kanye West or Drake or anybody usually releases albums to maximize the amount of sales they can get first week, I guess Kanye just does not give a f about that, which makes sense. Kanye don't give a shit about anything other than the quality of music, which is how it should be technically. But people are ruthless on the internet. Sometimes you just gotta maximize the sales so nobody can say anything. All the haters who are just people are already slandering, bro, you haven't even listened to it. It's like a fucking 2-hour album and people were saying it was trash like 2 minutes after it dropped. They did the same thing with Whole Lotta Red and EA. People are probably gonna be sucking massive for Drake though. Actually, no, there's gonna be a lot of slander for Drake just like with any album nowadays on Twitter. The internet kind of sucks low key. But anyway, I wanted to give a little review on Kanye's recent album. I'm gonna give like a little overall synopsis on how I felt about it because I've listened through it twice, once at the gym, once before, and then we'll do like a song by song breakdown as well as my overall rating per usual, like my previous album reviews, except this is a big one. This is Kanye West. This is a legend in the making, bruh. There's only one Kanye West. No, sorry. There's only one Ye, because he's changing his name, but who knows? I feel like he might stop the filing of that legal proceeding once he gets back on his meds, because apparently he stops taking his meds while he creates his albums to let him unlock whatever genius he got in his brain that every other normal human being doesn't have. But aside from all that, one theory I have for it dropping today on Sunday early in the morning was because Kanye West is super religious nowadays after his mom passed away. I think that's when he had his transition. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not like the biggest Kanye West fan in the world. And Sunday is God's day, so why not drop the album right before church on Sunday so people can listen to the album, then go to church and be all happy like, yes, praise Jesus, but also Kanye West for finally dropping Donda. Not to mention the fact that this barely is even a rap album. There is rap, obviously. Kanye West raps along with the features, which we'll get into in a second, but I actually felt like this was more of a Jesus is King lane for Kanye, kind of bringing a gospel take on a rap album, if that makes any sense. It had very I don't even know if that's a word, choiresque instrumentals with like the organ, minimal 808s on many of the songs, which are typical in hip hop beats. A lot of mentioning of the word Jesus and Christian related topics. And I thought that was cool because it was very impactful. If you actually listen to the lyrics, as well as in the outros, it was telling stories about some people who went to jail for their whole life, never got to see, their grandchildren. So the war on incarcerating black people, as well as just how Jesus has impacted Kanye and other people's lives. And with all that, it was a clean album, which people were complaining on Twitter because there were some times where they were supposed to say obviously a curse word and then it got like blanked out. I didn't even notice it until people told me, and then all of a sudden while I was like benching, I just heard like somebody about to say the N-word and then it just got cut out and I was like, oh. But I really don't think that there's going to be an explicit version because if you recall in Jesus is King, it was a completely clean album as well. So I just think this is the lane that Kanye is going in. He even said it on Twitter or in an interview somewhere, I don't remember where it was, that he's not going to be cursing anymore in his songs. So stop complaining, y'all. And something I wanted to point out that was pretty significant is that obviously because of the title of the album, Donda, which was his mother's name, it was a dedicated album to her, letting go of all the mourning he has experienced the past few years after she passed away. And so with that being said, I don't think Kanye was really trying to make any hit songs as opposed to maybe his competitor next Friday with Drake in Certified Boy Lover, who's probably gonna try and make 17 radio hits in a row, maybe some here and there talking about, baby mama problems and his child growing up and whatnot. But in a gospel and dedication album to his mom, I feel like that just doesn't really translate well into the mainstream. But of course, though, every single person, at least that I know, is listening to the new Kanye album. Even people who like don't even listen to that type of music, like Bella or some of my other friends who are hitting me up like, what did you think about the album? And I'm like, bro, it's like 5 minutes after it dropped. I don't even know, because people just be skipping through that shit. You gotta take your time with it. Especially one of the songs, the last song, Jesus Lord Part 2, is an 11-minute song with like 14 different features. I'm not complaining because it was still a good song, but there's no way the average casual fan listened to the whole thing. No way. So you're gonna see a lot of random haters and slanderers on the internet just calling the album trash without even listening past the first 3 songs, which I don't even count as actual songs on the album. They're just like intros. And then you're gonna have people sucking the living bodily fluids out of Kanye without even listening to any of the music. And that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to be like a dick sucker right now, because I do have my criticisms. In that, the first thing I have to say is I'm not gonna say there are any skips on Donda. However, there are a lot of interludes, which isn't a bad thing because that's how albums were back in the day. And with Kanye West's creative methods for making music and albums, it's almost like cinematic or theatrical. It's not really just him trying to compile the best songs that he's created ever. It's supposed to be all around a certain theme, which was Donda, the passing of his mother, and how that's impacted his life, been drawn into Jesus and Christianity to help him through that process. So with that being said, there are technically skips for me that I just don't want to listen to a repetitive thing being said over and over by Kanye or somebody speaking, because who listens to that after like the first album listen or a second album listen? The intro, outro, interludes. There are like 7 to 9 songs that are like that, including the first 3 songs, which we'll get into a little bit later, that I just feel like didn't actually start the album. The album really, for me, started with Off the Grid, and that's not just because Playboi Carti was on the intro. I could see how the average listener who's just listening to like Spotify playlists all day, and now they go to the Kanye album and they hear a lot of these not really songs but just breaks within the album to get you ready for what's to come next, if that makes any sense. They probably gonna skip through all those. But with the album being 27 songs, I really don't count those as full songs. So I'm gonna say the album's like 20 songs. So it's not too long. That's like average nowadays. And lastly, before we get into the song by song breakdown, I just want to say that I feel like Kanye, with all of the features, at first I was like, are there too many features? I mean, he is the primary artist on the album and is his album. Yet, like, he doesn't even comprise of, I don't know, half of the project. It's always like other people rapping. And normally I would have a problem with that, and I thought I was going to have a little bit of a problem with that, but no. I feel like he brought the best out of every single feature that came in. Even some people that I had no idea who they were before, or I had just seen their name on Twitter because they were like Kanye affiliates, I really liked. There was like one song where this woman, I think her name was Shensia, she went crazy on Pure Souls, as well as KC on whatever song he was on. Even Fabio Foreign. These people, Roddy Ricch, and then some of the older people like Jay Electronica, Styles P, they had better verses on this album than their own individual albums that they released themselves. So it really just points out that Kanye West, as a producer or an executive producer rather than just a beat maker, and I guess as if you want to call him an A&R for putting together this project with so many different artists and co-producers, that is where his talent lies. So to have so many features on the project, it makes sense and it fits well. I definitely underestimated it before I listened, especially because he even allowed some of the influences of these features, say like Fabio Foreign brought in some of like drill 808s within one of the songs he was on. I think Off the Grid, one of them. So Kanye, go-to producer, all in all. And so if I were to give this project a rating out of 10 before we get into the song by song breakdown, I'd probably say 8.7. in that, as I said before, I don't really include the interlude and intro songs as actual songs in the album because nobody really listens to those anyway after the first or second listen. And really the only songs I didn't like were Okay Part 2 with Lil Yachty, unfortunately. Like, it was all right. I wouldn't skip it. It's just okay to me. That's why that's the title of the song. And the other interlude songs that some people may not categorize as that is like No Child Left Behind and Tell the Vision. That's why they have shorter duration than some of the other songs. Maybe not No Child Left Behind, but it was kind of repetitive to me. Donda was definitely an interlude because I think it was his mom talking or somebody who was voice acting for his mom. 24 was a really slow song. Like, it's cool for when you're listening to the album. I wouldn't skip it, but am I gonna listen to this in my free time while I'm riding my whip? No. And then again, these first 3 songs, Donda Chant, Jail, God Breathed, like I played Donda Chant this morning right when we woke up. Bella was still in bed and it just was like screaming Donda the whole time, and she's like, what is going on here? And so again, I do not count that song. Jail was cool. It kind of gave me like an 80s vibe from that one song that's in Tarzan. I can't remember off the top of my head, and Jay-Z was on it, so it was cool to see the Watch the Throne collab come back together. But I still felt like it was an intro song, not necessarily the meat and potatoes of the album, if you feel me. And once again, I feel like God Breathed was an intro, just getting us ready for like the hardcore, like off the grid Cardi to be like sucking people's blood, and Kanye coming quick with a feature baptizing his ass. Which brings us to the first song with our boy Playboi Carti, but also 5EO Foreign. And I liked Off the Grid. It kind of gave us like the whole lot of Red Carti where he was still on his punk shit. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it has some drill influence when 5EO gets on the beat. But lastly, we get Kanye West giving us some bars, which I was waiting for because all the rest of the songs really didn't have any 808 bass lines. So that was the first song. I was like, okay, the album is finally starting. And then we get to Hurricane, fan favorite, leak slash snippet, I guess, because there were so many different versions, like Lil Baby, The Weeknd, I don't know who else, but it looks like we got both The Weeknd and Lil Baby on it, who absolutely murdered the song. 80 degrees, burning up the leaves. The song is beautiful, I'm not even gonna lie. The Weeknd was the perfect person to put on the chorus. And it was great to see Lil Baby on a beat that was different from what he's normally on. I don't know what type of beats he's on off the top of my head, but I just feel like the choir and gospel type beat that Kanye is on the wave of currently showed Lil Baby's diversity. I think in the future, like, that just shows that Lil Baby's here to stay. And if any song is gonna be on the radio, especially because The Weeknd is on the song, the radio loves The Weeknd. I mean, his album this past in 2020 sold, I don't even know, like 200, 500, I don't even remember the number. It was in the hundreds K first week because of all the radio. So I think if any song on Donda is gonna get on the radio, it's gonna be Hurricane. Next we got Praise God, which had both Travis Scott and Baby Keem on the features. Now I feel like Travis Scott's feature was kind of lukewarm, but Baby Keem came in with like the, I don't even know, the baby voice, like, and so I understand why people after the first album listening party thought that was Playboi Carti, because the baby voice, whatever, that's iconic and symbolizes Carti. But that was definitely a great look for Baby Keem, especially with his album coming very soon, and he just dropped a song with Kendrick. Next we got Jonah, where Vori really showcased his vocals, and it was kind of like a Hurricane situation where it was so beautiful, brought tears to my eyes. Lil Durk was also a feature on that. I personally don't care for Lil Durk. I know a lot of people do, especially if you're from a more like street background. It's just not for me, I'm sorry. But overall, this was just like a little slow song to get you ready again for Okay Okay Junior and then the rest of the album. I personally like songs like this that slow down the album as opposed to the interlude, but it's Kanye. He does what he wants. And now we get to one of the songs that I wasn't too fond of. It's all right. Again, I would listen to it if it came on, but I just wasn't feeling it. It feels like anticlimactic with the beat being super repetitive. There wasn't really many transitions or beat switches or different instruments that came in at different points in the song. And I just don't really like Lil Yachty rapping all too much. And I don't want to hear any slander in the comments. We all know Lil Yachty's more popular songs is when he's on his vocals or like melody rap. But the dude at the very end of the song, I think his name was Ruga, he kind of killed it. But again, one of my least favorite songs on the album. You gotta pick a couple songs. I can't just say the whole thing was flames, you know? And then we get another Playboi Carti verse, although it is pretty short, but this whole song is a vibe. Junior, it's a little fun song that you can sing along with. Junior, I don't even know the words, but that's catchy. And Carti had one of his classic flows with a short couple of bars and then a ad-lib from Kanye. The only thing I'm disappointed about is that one song, and maybe that's gonna drop on Narcissist with Playboi Carti with Kanye featuring on that. It's Carti's as the primary artist, but it's the original song that I thought was off the grid because Carti, there was like a recording I think by like Digital Nas on his Instagram story or Instagram live where it was, I've been off the grid, I've been off the shiz, do it for my kids. I don't know what he says, but I think y'all know which song I'm talking about. It was like before any of the listening parties. So maybe on the Donda Deluxe, we can get that song. Or again on Narcissist. I'll be a very happy man. And surprisingly, we actually get a solo song from Kanye West, which I think, even just by himself, it was one of the best songs on the album. It kind of had like a 90s or 2000s pop bass line that just makes you bop your head, maybe get some bop on the side by your girl, but it's like a little dance song that you can play before you get to the club. Great song, that's all I can say. Kanye showcases some of his vocal ability as well as his hit making capacity. I think he needed more songs like this on Donda. Not shitting on the album, but solo Kanye does his thing. 24 was kind of another one of those interlude songs where it was the choir, Kanye singing along a little bit, so I'm not gonna really count that song. Remote Control, another one of my favorite songs on the album, had Young Thug on the feature. This song was just super vibey, like, we got it on remote control. Yes, I know, I got vocals like Miley Cyrus. And my favorite lines out of the whole album was from this song, because it was like, I was in my hovercraft. It almost gave me like a utopia vibe to it, not like Travis Scott, but like the futuristic, like Kanye West is all the way in the future, because if you watch his Joe Rogan interview, he was talking about futuristic things like that. Low-key, Kanye at his new crib in Wyoming might have a time machine and he might be traveling to 2050 and back, and that's why he's bringing back a classic. But Young Thug killed the feature per usual on this album, brought a little bit more variation, but also matched the melodies that Kanye West was already singing with. Great song overall. I'd say top 3 on the album. So far it's Hurricane, Believe What I Say, Remote Control. Let me know if I'm correct in the comments. And then even more than Hurricane, Moon, which is a beautiful song. This is something that I might even play at my wedding day on my first dance. Don Toliver with the super high-pitched voice, and then Kid Cudi coming in right after that, matching it with some like spacey, introspective feeling. Honestly, it was both of their songs, not even Kanye West. Kid Cudi and Don Toliver were all that needed. I know Kanye came in a little bit at the end, maybe some other times within the song, but this is another one of those interlude slash real songs that I think could have replaced all of the interludes. Great song. This is one of them joints you play after lighting all of the candles on Valentine's Day when you bring a girl back. And then again, somehow we got another solo song by Kanye West, which was absolute fire. It was more like bars, not necessarily trying to make a hit, spotlighting Kanye West's actual ability to rap still, that a lot of people do not give him a lot of credit for because people just see him as a producer. But great song, and I'm just telling y'all, the formula of just Kanye West solo on the track ain't bad. Of course we need some features on there, but I still think Kanye could do real well solo. Next we got Donda, again another interlude with his mom or a voice actor talking, so we're not going to count that. Keep My Spirit Alive is actually another one of my favorite songs, surprisingly, because it's not really going to be a radio hit. However, KC or Kesa, I don't know how you pronounce that dude's name, one of Kanye West's affiliates, signed to his label as a ghostwriter or whatever he is. Dude was amazing at the chorus. His voice is beautiful. I might have to kiss him on the cheek next time I see him. Maybe that's Kanye's gay lover. Not psych, but I thought it was Jeremiah at first, and I think the power of this song is that it opened my mind up to some of these other artists that I really wouldn't even give the chance of at first, such as KC or KSI, however you pronounce it. Westside Gunn, who I really have never given a good chance, but he did his thing on his verse. Conway the Machine, did not even know who that was. But overall on this song, KC carried the fuck out of that song with his tear-jerking chorus. Oh my god. And Jesus Lord was a super interesting song because this was already a really long song, 9 minutes. However, there was also a part 2, if you can see at the bottom, and that one's 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So total, what is that, 9? That's over 20 minutes. So he just thought this song was so good, and it really is, especially with like the, I don't know what you would call them, like bridges or whatever, with like the kid choir in the background saying Jesus is Lord, which kind of kept the song moving. And I think the reason that he made it so long was because with the recording and mixing process of Donda, especially at the listening parties and whatnot, he tried out so many different features and people to put on different songs that it just turned into a cipher. Because he wanted to give all these people verses and features, but you can't fit everybody on it. So why not create 2 songs out of it and allow more people to get on the album as like a little family? And I guess that's kind of what he was trying to do on Donda. But the first one only had J Electronica. Jesus Lord Part 2, also a great song, but it's the same beat and same cadences. The second part had some people I had no idea existed, like Sheik Louch. The only Sheik I know is from Zelda. Jadakiss, definitely know who that is. Styles P. And as I mentioned a little bit before, I think that Kanye's power is again to emphasize and bring out the best in some of these people, because I feel like Jadakiss, Styles P, they're always rapping on like old school's boom bap type hip hop beats. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe they like progress into the modern age a little bit, but they are older rappers from like the 80s, 90s. And so I think Kanye bringing him into this, which isn't even like modern hip hop beats, it's his own Kanye lane. It made him experiment a little more and it sounded great. I liked both songs. New Again actually reminded me of one of the older Kanye songs. I think it was on Graduation, called Flashing Lights, with like the, I don't even know what instrument, like the synth, but just the cadence of the Now Chris Brown came in, made it sound more gospel with the choir chorus. But for some reason, I love when Kanye uses his flows where he has like a built-in ad-lib. This song specifically, he had like the at the very end of every line. I think on Off the Grid, he was doing like or whatever it was. Just makes it easier to follow along. Now, Television, I think, is another one of those songs, like it's an interlude. I think it had Pop Smoke a little bit in it, although it was very distorted. Don't count that as a song though. And what do you know? Another solo Kanye West song that was absolute fire. Now, it was a little bit slower, more introspective, talking about Kanye and Kim's relationship a little bit, probably a little bit more than that as well. But Kanye was killing it with all the bars. Love this song for real. Now, Pure Souls might actually be my favorite song on the album. I know there are some other mainstream hits on here, Hurricane, Believe What I Say, Remote Control, Keep My Spirit Alive, but oh my God, every single person, Roddy Ricch, Shenseea, and Kanye all did their thing, and they never had like the same melodies. Roddy Ricch did his thing, you know, he kills it always. Honestly, he probably did better on a Kanye song than he does on like some of his solo music. That all sounds somewhat similar, but I guess every artist is like that. But I was in the gym, and then the Shenseea girl at the very end of the song comes on with like a, I don't even know, a minute and a half long monologue, just killing it. I almost broke down and dug myself a grave, because after listening to that, I do not even need to live anymore. I can just tell she's a bad bitch from how she's saying that. And something funny to note is that apparently this woman, Shenseea, is or was an alleged potential baby mama / lover of Drake. So it's just funny how Kanye put her on the album, I think even twice. But yeah, Pure Soul's favorite song on the album. I know that's, you know, kind of pussy in me, but nobody carried anybody other than maybe Shenseea, who just went over the top. Come to Life wasn't even like a hip hop song at all influence. Like, I feel like Adele or one of these other pop singers would probably sing on a beat like that. It was just kind of like a slow down your roll, buddy. The album's almost over. Can't let you finish too quick, you hear me? But it shows Kanye West's versatility. It wasn't really my favorite song on the album, but I understand why it was there. He's done miracles on me. And with the song duration, I think No Child Left Behind is kind of another one of those interlude / songs. It was all right to me. I think everybody's gonna remember how Kanye just kept repeating, he's done miracles on me, and that's all right. But I'm not really gonna listen to this in my free time. Again though, understand why it was there. And for some reason, when I was listening to this album earlier today, I couldn't listen to Jail Part 2, but I guess I'm gonna do my first listen right now, and then I'll give you my opinion. Yo, this is the song that there was that DaBaby drama, because apparently Kanye West posted on his Instagram earlier today saying that DaBaby's manager was not clearing the song, and then he texted DaBaby saying that the people around you were trying to dig your grave or whatever, likely also referring to how he got canceled and that his management probably didn't handle it all too well. But DaBaby did his thing. Kanye somehow got DaBaby to use a different flow than what he usually uses, so DaBaby finally has a defense. I personally am fine with DaBaby using the same flow every song. If it works and it gets views and it streams, do your thing, bro. Make your money, making more money than all of us. I like Jail Part 2 more than Jail Part 1. Actually, maybe not. I just feel like the features on Jail and Jail Part 2, Jay-Z and DaBaby, they were like the focal points of the song rather than Kanye. And Okay Okay Part 2 was actually better than the original Okay Okay with Yachty. I'm not a Yachty hater by any stretch. I fuck with Yachty, but I just feel like it was a little bit more diverse in sound rather than just being like the same. Again, anticlimactic is the word that I use for the original song, where Shenseea was on like some Jamaican accent, and then Ruga was kind of doing like melodic rap. It just had a little bit more flavor and spice to it. Chemical X, the Powder Puff Girls are about to come out and punch all of us in the face. And lastly, because we already talked about Jesus Lord Part 2 with its long ass over 10-minute outro, but Junior Part 2 was pretty much the same song as the original, but it had Ty Dolla $ign instead of Kanye's last verse. Actually, never mind, it was just added on top. So again, overall, I told y'all I give it like an 8.5 or an 8.7 out of 10 rating. I don't think Kanye was trying to make any bangers, although he definitely made some. I wouldn't say like any radio smash hits that are gonna be played in the club. I don't think Kanye would want his shit to be played in the club anyway, because that would just be degrading. I mean, he's not even cursing in it. Whereas you already know Drake was Certified Boy Lover. That's all he's gonna try to do, which isn't a bad thing. There's two different methods of making an album. Whereas Kanye was dedicating this to his mom, Drake is trying to go out with a bang with his last album, I think. But this might be Kanye's last album. Who knows? I feel like he'll help out executive producing for other people though, which 5Yo Foreign already confirmed. But with all that being said, it's been your boy Bobbalam signing off. Got too much music in my hands right now. We got Kanye, Lil Tecca, Trippin' Night, all solid albums within the last 2 weeks. And then next week we got Drake. And then after that we got Juice WRLD and maybe Travis Scott. Like 2021 was a big year for hip hop. Let me know in the comments what y'all thought about the album. Give me your rating. Make sure to like and subscribe to join the Bob gang if you with it. Peace out, people. You know what I'm saying?